Welcome back, everybody. I hope we're doing well. It's time for an update. Time to go over some stuff I've been processing. So, last couple videos, a little bit lower energy. I've been going through some struggles, but guys, when I talk about my struggles, I almost feel bad or guilty because I know that I am so much better off than most people, and not in an arrogant way, just in a realistic way. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that I don't have bad days. Everyone has bad days, and this is not supposed to say that I'm perfect or I have things figured out, because this whole channel is about being vulnerable and letting my ego go and saying fuck what friends, family, or any random person thinks about it. And this is a way of healing myself, helping others, and improving. And that's just reality. So I've been buckling down and taking my work a lot more serious, and it's been paying off, but it's very stressful. It can be, and it brings my energy down when I'm stressed out or when I have bad days. So I did fall off of the regular uploads, but it wasn't just work. I've been struggling with other things too, and my own vices that I talk about. But it's like I always find more clarity when I meditate, when I slip back into old ways. It's like, as you get older, your mind starts to open up and you start to understand things more. And it's like once you start to understand and realize like how you really feel on the inside, and you get away from that animalistic cravings and urges and the human nature, our twisted nature that we are as humans. When you start to unplug from that and really get in touch with your spirit and your soul, a lot of stuff starts to make a lot of sense. And along with enlightening yourself spiritually and really getting in touch with that, along with that comes a clear vision. And my vision lately has become very clear. And it's almost too clear in a dark way. But the reality, guys, is that if you don't know darkness, you really don't know the light. You have people that are blind, that believe in blind faith. They just believe everything they're told. And I don't believe in that. I think we all need to be free thinkers and find things out ourselves and fact check things, especially in this age of misinformation. It's not only the age of information, but it's the age of misinformation. So, we have to be aware of what we're taking in and, whether that's right or not. But the problem is that you start to realize, you start to see the darkness everywhere in the world. And that's the point where I'm at. And I feel like I've been going through this negative phase where it's like everything seems dark, this and that. I've been having struggles, mentally, financially, etc., pulling myself out of the hole. And when you're going through all those dark things and you're waking up to the reality of the system, the way the world works, it's really easy to have a scared, dark, negative mindset. And I feel like that's a lot of people, not everyone's waking up, but a majority, a good bit of people are starting to wake up and question things and do their own research and think for themselves. And I feel like a lot of people go through that phase or are stuck in that phase where I feel like I've been, where it's like this darkness, it's like this, we have no hope, what do we do? Oh my God, everything's screwed, and it's almost like that's right where they want you. They want you to give up and live in fear and live in scarcity. And that's the world we live in. And they program that through the media and through the news and all that. And what does everyone do? Everyone copes. Everyone has a way of coping. And most people cope in the wrong ways, in horrible ways. They cope with video games. They isolate. They think they're getting all their dopamine. Their dopamine's firing off in their brain because they're being tricked by false pleasures. And then they isolate. They get stuck in their head. And it's a pretty toxic cycle if you can't control it. That was my experience with games. But it's not just games, guys, it's everything. People numb themselves with porn. The world we live in is literally like sex is everywhere. Sex is glorified. It's crazy to think about how it's changed. But that's just the reality we live in. And on top of that, drugs are more prevalent than ever. Candy flavored vapes are everywhere. They're giving pills out to everyone. Everyone is coping, whether they want to accept it or not. How are you going to cope? That's pretty much where we're at. But do you really need to cope? Even though there's all this darkness in the world, do you need to cope? That's debatable. You certainly don't need to cope through toxic ways that I mentioned. Through isolation, through addictions, through vices. But what if we coped in a positive way? What if we started being the light in this dark world that we see? And that's the point where I'm at now. Because I fall into my old ways and I go deeper down that rabbit hole and I feel more anxious, I feel more sick, I feel farther away from where I need to be and where I should be. And that creates discomfort. And that creates regret, fear. And I'm tired of living in those low vibrational vibes. I'm tired of living like that. I'm tired of living with anxiety. I'm tired of, stressing out about shit that doesn't need to be stressed out about. And that's why I started this channel. Because deep down I knew I needed help. Deep down I knew I needed change. And I saw that in the world among me. I became everything that I hated. And now I'm working on fixing myself and changing, but it's not easy. When you live a degenerate lifestyle for decades, over a decade, it's hard to climb out of that and stay out of it. And that's where I've came to now. When you go down those dark paths and you know the truth, you know dark realities, it brings you back to the light. It brings you back to faith. It brings you back to God. It brings you back to all the stuff that you neglected all your life. All the talks about religion and God and purpose and fate. It starts to, all of a sudden you start to realize that was the answer all along. That all those older people that pushed that on you or talked about this and that were right. And it starts to get really deep when you start looking into facts and studying and reading the Bible and, actually doing your research and diving deep. Things begin to start making sense pretty quickly. And I honestly believe that all this darkness is intentional so that we can see the light. Because if you don't know any different, if everything was just plain Jane, you might not ever wake up. You might just stay asleep forever. And this can go into a deeper level on every person's life. You know, this doesn't have to be big, grand scheme things of like population control and elites and power and poisoning and all this and that. You know, we don't have to go that deep. It can just be in your personal life. It can just be the examples that you have in your own life. And when you have to go through tough times, when you go through dark, evil things, and you come out, you start to understand that there's another side. When you go through tough times, you put yourself in the trenches, or you find yourself in the trenches climbing out. Once you get back to surface level and start to elevate, those feelings are different. That gratitude is different. The humility is there. Guys, life is not meant to be perfect. This life on earth, this life, this flesh life is full of sin. It's full of darkness. But there's also light everywhere. There's light and dark within us. It's just up to us what energy we want to channel, what side we want to stand for. Guys, it's a spiritual battle out here, whether you want to accept that or not. I think more people are starting to understand this as the times we live in are starting to get pretty more extreme. And, you know, there's something that's been aware to me for quite some time now, but as I went through my 20s and went through phases, God always reminded me and always like steered me back on the right path. And I have a lot of insight to share. This video got pretty deep, but this is an update for where I'm at in my life and where my thoughts are. Just wanted to share that with you guys and continue to move forward with this content and continue to work on myself, continue to call myself out, and continue to work on myself and my spirit and continue healing myself and maybe encouraging some of you guys to heal yourselves. This flesh life is fragile and quick. Let's make the most out of this human experience we have, guys. We don't have to live in regret or live in fear. We just have to follow our heart, follow our gut. Listen to those voices in your head. The good voices. And those bad voices, conquer them. Begin to change, begin to heal yourself, begin to lift yourself up. Life is precious, guys. Make the most out of each day. Take care.